Today we examine a disturbing political theatre. Benjamin Netanyahu, who has an arrest warrant issued against him for war crimes, nominating Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize.
I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well-deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful. Thank you very much, Bibi.
This would be laughable if it weren't so infuriating. Absolutely absurd. Like a fox nominating a wolf for the best animal guardian. Trump has just carried out illegal strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities without any legitimate proof of treaty violations. Iran has been compliant with the NPT, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, adhering to its obligations. Meanwhile, Netanyahu's Israel, on the other hand, a country that has nuclear weapons, that refuses international inspections, initiated attacks on Iran under false pretenses, and then requested a ceasefire when they realized that facing a real army is a whole different game than bombing defenseless families in Gaza.
Iranian strikes began within hours of the U.S. joining the conflict. The damage is extensive, with sites in and around Haifa and Tel Aviv being bombed.
Now, part of this theatre is that we now have Netanyahu and Trump meeting to discuss peace, as if we're all supposed to take this charade seriously. If they really wanted peace, all the US would need to do is stop supplying weapons to Israel, as simple as that. Instead, we're treated to a so-called peace plan that looks more like a colonial agenda. You see, their version of peace involves the forced relocation of Palestinians.
That could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad, this could be so magnificent.
But most Gazans don't want to leave, and leaders in Egypt and Jordan have said they don't want to take them.
Ever since Trump's reckless proposal to turn Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East, the Israeli government has adopted it as policy. Israeli officials have been discussing how military operations and the starvation of the population aim to achieve what they call voluntary immigration. This is not peace, it's ethnic cleansing. Israel's Defense Minister, Israel Katz, has unveiled a brilliant new plan to concentrate the entire population of Gaza into a so-called humanitarian zone, conveniently built on the ruins of Rafah. How thoughtful of him. According to Katz, this grand scheme involves moving 600,000 Palestinians, primarily from the Al-Muwazi area, into this exclusive zone where once inside, residents will be treated to the luxury of not being allowed to leave.
It's a small city. Cramming in 600,000 Gazans, let alone ultimately the entire population of Gaza, over 2 million people, that would be, to put it mildly, extremely cramped conditions there.
Outlined in a briefing to Israeli media by the Defense Minister Israel Katz, the government insists it'll protect people. The plan is reverberating globally, revealing as it does Israel's long-term thinking for the Gaza Strip.
Because it's not about camps, it's about protecting civilians. I don't want any casualties. I'm at war against terrorists. I'm not at war against civilians.
Why are you going to lock up 600,000 Gazans? The far right, gleeful at the prospect, say these people will be getting heaven.
They'll get heaven. They'll get everything that they need. They'll get all the supplies, all the treatment that they need. Everything will be given to them there.
And to be clear, they can come and go.
Just a second, not at the beginning.
So they can't leave?
That's, as I've said, at the beginning, no.
And don't forget, they all have to undergo a de-radicalization process before being kindly relocated out of Gaza. How compassionate. Isn't it charming how they've rebranded a concentration camp as a humanitarian zone. It's like calling a prison a freedom facility. We really have to hand it to them for their creativity in language, because let's face it, we all know what such a place really is. It's a concentration camp, plain and simple. Meanwhile, in the UK, the pro-Israel media expressed their moral outrage against Bob Vylan's chant of death, death to the IDF.
Free, free! Free, free! Bob Vylan went on to lead the crowd, or parts of it, in a chant of death, death to the IDF.
Accusing him and his band of hate speech. Now let's get real. Bob Vylan is a rapper. He hasn't shot or killed anyone. He didn't call for the death of all Israeli civilians, in contrast to what we've seen from Israeli government officials who openly called for the wiping out of all Gazan civilians. He did, however, call for the death to the Israeli army, which, by the way, is accused of committing genocide by Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and other credible organizations. This is the same IDF that has supposedly been waging war by killing defenseless women and children for the past 22-odd months. After nearly 2 years of women and children being massacred in Gaza, the Western media is in a frenzy over a chant, while remaining silent on the actual slaughter and starvation of an entire population. How astounding. And as we watch this spectacle unfold, let's remember, the only thing more absurd than their claims of peace is the idea that we should accept any of this without question. It's time for the Western media to stop being a propaganda mouthpiece for Israeli narratives and start reporting the facts. The hypocrisy is impossible to ignore, and it's time to hold them accountable for the truth they continue to bury.